Welcome back. We are going to be starting our next unit on evolution. If you haven't, please pause this video, go to the class website and complete the pretest over evolution and the do now. Okay, so now that you've completed those, we're going to go ahead and start our unit on evolution. Evolution is one of the most controversial subjects in all of biology. There are a lot of different belief systems out there. And in this unit, I will not tell you what to believe. I am going to present the facts as they are currently known to science and let you arrive to your own opinion. So, to start talking about evolution, we have to talk about how life began on Earth. We're going to scrutinize the scientific explanations for the origin of life, and we are going to identify the situation or conditions contributing to the origin of life. So, how did life begin? For thousands of years, most people just believed in creationism, religious creation accounts, such as that found in the Bible, dominated what most people believed. Later on, as science became more prevalent and we started to learn more about the world around us, many people started to shift to new ideas. One of the first ones was spontaneous generation. Spontaneous generation is the idea or belief that things just appeared out of nowhere. Nothing really, they just came out of the thin air. A prime example of what people believed spontaneous generation was maggots appearing on garbage. As science advanced, we slowly began to disprove this idea of spontaneous generation. As we know now, the maggots in garbage came from flies that laid eggs in the garbage. Though the eggs are too small to really be seen without some sort of magnification. So when people were believing in spontaneous generation, they just thought they appeared. They didn't realize that the flies came and laid eggs and that maggots were indeed just larval forms of flies. They didn't know the life cycle of a fly, and it was so small they couldn't see it. So after spontaneous generation was disproven, many started to look to science to uncover the truth about where life came from. So over time, thought processes have shifted. Things that we used to believe, we don't believe anymore, and these are different paradigms of belief. A paradigm is a belief that we have that helps us understand the world around us. And over time, these paradigms have shifted. So, from religious backgrounds to more scientific ones, typically. A few prime examples: flat Earth versus round Earth. When you look around you, the Earth doesn't look round. It looks flat because of how big it is. And so people had a hard time accepting the belief over time that the Earth is round and not flat. But as we know today from satellite images and just how the world works, we know that it is round. Another example is geocentrism versus heliocentrism. So if we break down those words, centrism means center. Geo means Earth, and people used to believe that the Earth was the center of the universe. But over time, based on sun movements, and especially now that we have satellites and we're able to see more of the world and universe around us, we have shifted to a heliocentric model. Helios means sun. So it is a sun-centered model of the universe, which we now know is correct. Although the paradigm or this belief for life's origin has shifted, it doesn't mean that science is the only way to explain things. So once again, I'm not saying don't believe in creationism, I'm just presenting the facts as science shows them now. Science is simply a way to deal with the natural explanations or observable explanations. It is possible to use multiple paradigms or beliefs to help us understand the world around us. How did life begin? Think in your head, what is the simplest living thing you can think of? I'm guessing most of you probably came to the same idea, and it's bacteria. Scientists believe that the first living things were very much like bacteria. So here we have a simple bacteria. In addition to being like bacteria, they would have been prokaryotic or not having a nucleus. They would have been unicellular, one little individual cell. They would have had very simple organelles, not the complex ones that we know in our eukaryotic cells today. They would have reproduced asexually because sexual reproduction was not even a possibility at the time. They were also more than likely anaerobic, which means they didn't need oxygen. Very early Earth was inhospitable to life. There was not a lot of oxygen in the atmosphere. And so an organism that needed oxygen would not have been able to survive. So that led us to the belief that most of the beginnings of life would have had to have been anaerobic and not use oxygen. They are also believed to be autotrophic because if you're the only living thing, you have to make your own food. So because there was nothing around for them to eat, they would have had to have made their own food, making them autotrophic. Sounds pretty easy, right? So what building blocks do we need to have a simple working cell? So think back to when we've learned about cells. What do they have? What do they need? Liquid water for transport. It's found in the cytoplasm. They have to have that membrane made of lipids. They have amino acids which they use to make proteins. They have DNA or RNA to carry the genetic information. And there had to be something that caused life to actually start, the source of that animation. How did it actually start? It didn't magically just pop into existence because we've disproved spontaneous generation. So what happened to cause all of these things to mix together in the right way to create life? So there's a few different origin stories because we don't know 100% what actually started life. So one of the first ones that we'll talk about are deep sea vents. Very far down in the ocean, you have these vents where heat and other chemicals and minerals are released. And this heat, these chemicals all together, could have helped cause reactions that caused all of these necessary things for cells or bacteria to live to occur. And the heat would have allowed them to meld together in the right way and create life. A second idea is a form of clay and then lightning striking it. So clay binds particles together, and then the lightning would have caused that animation, them to all properly get together in the right order to create life. And then finally, panspermia, where life just arrived from a meteor crashing into the planet. So there was stuff on the meteor that combined with stuff on Earth, and when it crashed, created enough heat that allowed life to begin forming. So here is a deep sea vent. You can see the minerals and stuff growing on the deep sea vent. Clay and lightning. And then finally a meteor hitting into Earth. So that is it for notes for this lesson. Your assignments for this lesson can be found on our class site, which is pictured right here. Please make sure to complete these assignments as soon as you can. And I look forward to going over the next lesson with you.